Hello everyone. I'm going to show you some ways to catch accessibility defects during unit and end-to-end testing. A bit about myself. My name is Emily. I'm a developer in Toronto and I currently worked for a company named Narwhal. This is how fixing accessibility bug feels like. Basically doing a lot of patch fixes. As a developer, accessibility bug is a type of bug that I do not wish to be assigned to. In my past project, the accessibility testing is usually done at the very end of the project. By the time I need to fix those bugs, the page is already built. It is very hard to make structure change and move components around. This talk will show you some ways for developers to automate some accessibility testing while we're doing development. I'm going to show you how I added accessibility testing to this simple website I created. It is a search engine for Studio Ghibli. So Studio Ghibli is a Japanese animation company. You can search any films and characters created by this studio on this website. So this is what the website looks like. For example, if you search princess, you show the films related to princess. If you search, for example, Totoro, you show the films and the characters related to Totoro. If you click the film here, it will show you the film details. Just quickly go through the tech stack. Front end is React. Monorepo tool is NX, which is built by my company Narwhal. NX is a powerful tool that will set up unit and end-to-end testing for you out of the box, so I recommend you to check it out. For unit testing, I'm going to use Jest and JustX. For end-to-end testing, I'm going to use Cypress and CypressX. For unit testing, I use Jest and JustX. You could install JustX and typing using this command here. Now with JustX installed, I need to set it up. I have added a setup file named just.setup.js, and inside the just config file, I need to add the keys, setup files after environment, and point it to just.setup.js. Inside just.setup.js file, it is very simple. Just have an import from JustX. It also extends Just expect function to have no violations from JustX. Now setup is done. I want the unit test a search form component on the top. It's pretty simple. You just have an input field and a submit button. Currently, you have a default test to check whether it renders successfully or not. Now I want to add a unit test for this component to check whether it has any accessibility violations. Note I import from JustX on the top. Then I add a unit test to check for the accessibility violation. It renders the component and pass the container to X from JustX library. Then expect the output to not have any violations. Now when I run the unit test again, I will notice that the test failed, which is actually great. It means the tests are working. It actually shows the accessibility errors in the console as well. Developers could add similar tests to each component of the app. If all the apps are accessible, then the entire app is more likely to be accessible. This is good that you allow developers to add accessibility unit tests while building the components. The components could be standalone and do not even need to show up on the browser page. This will help to avoid accessibility defects at component level. How about page level? Now I'm going to talk about end-to-end testing. It is going to use Cypress and the CypressX. Here are the commands to install CypressX. I have a separate text for the search page, which is basically entering text key in the search text field and the submit search form, and make sure it goes to the results page with the right query parameters. So this is what a separate text looks like. You enter a search text and it redirects to the results page. To set up the Cypress X testing, I need to add typing first. In the tsconfig file, under compile option types, I need to add Cypress X here. Also in the support file, I added an import from Cypress X. Now I'm done with the Cypress X setup. I'm ready to add Cypress X test for this search page. In the before each statement, I need to add a line to inject X here. And in the test, I simply add a line to check accessibility. Now I run the Cypress test again. Notice it failed. I have added a console log to output the accessibility violation on the search page. This will help test app on the page level and prevent accessibility-related regression bugs. With all these tools, it will be easier for developers to avoid accessibility bugs during development rather than going through them when the entire app is built. And this is the end of my presentation. Thanks for listening.